was initially. Like, what do you think about? So, okay, here's my position, and then I'll get your point from it. I don't think
You're
obviously.
wrong.
What's that?
You're wrong.
Probably, but I don't think. Obviously, I think it's self-defense. I think it's clear-cut self-defense, but I kind of think the kid's a dickbag. He's one of these kids that like he wants to play like he's in a position of power. So he shows up at this place, and the spirit of it, I agree with. The idea of like protecting property or stopping people from burning shit and stuff like that. I kind of, but then he's like, I'm here as a medic, and he just seems like he seems like a little dickbag.
He was performing first aid that night.
Yeah, he seems like a little dickbag to me, to be honest.
I disagree.
So it's funny to me. He's the kind of guy that I don't think I'd want to be a cop, because I think he'd be the guy that was just so power hungry to the position. Was just so happy.
An insane take given what happened.
No, why?
Because he only fired his weapon on people who were immediately.
So he went there.
Right. So when
did he have property there to protect?
So it was his hometown.
No, it wasn't. He's from out of town.
No, he's from Kenosha.
But
it was his hometown.
He lives out of town.
But he grew up in Kenosha or something like that. It was his hometown.
Whatever.
So when the institutions fail and your city is under siege, what do? He decided to do something.
Yeah. And
so, yeah. I mean,
agree to disagree. Listen. The spirit of it, I'm kind of for, because I like the idea of. You got a bunch of dickbag protesters burning shit. And
it's not just them doing that,
but listen,
though. It's the institutions failing, the police.
But I'm saying, but you got a bunch of these dickbags out on the street doing this shit, and citizens are stepping up to stop them. I'm all for that sort of spirit, right? Because I'm
they're not even trying to stop them. Like, he was just there to keep things safe, and
he was protecting property. Apparently, that's what he originally said. And
he was there to do safe aid, and yeah.
So first aid from gunshots that he inflicted. No, but from first
that's
aid,
fucking
first
dumb.
Aid, I know, but first aid for what though?
People are out there protesting. They get hurt. They fucking do stupid shit. They're playing with fire and dumpsters and shit. And
so he's just there to do that.
He was there to keep things civil.
Yeah, okay.
Well, what do you mean with a gun? We had fucking months of rioting where people were murdered.
If a guy showed up out of nowhere with a fucking AR-15 in his hand, and he's like, "Here, I'm just here to keep the peace," that's not going to put you at. You're going to be just at ease. Like, I don't know this guy from Adam. He's got an AR-15 strapped around his shoulder. You're just going to feel at ease. You're going to be like, "Oh, cool." Like, if we're having a pool party out there, and he just shows up, and he's like, "Here, I'm just here to keep the peace. Anybody slips and falls and scratches themselves, then I'm here to provide first aid." You're going to be like, "Oh, yeah, I feel comfortable." Or you're going to be like, "I'm a little fucking uncomfortable with this guy standing around with an AR-15.
Right, because if the threat is falling from a pool, a gun is unnecessary. If the threat is violent rioters, a gun is a little more appropriate.
But who is he protecting? He's protecting property. He's not really protecting
everybody there.
But everybody there
he was a supporter.
But if they're all protesters, then he's protecting protesters from themselves?
Yes.
No, he was there to protect property.
Quite literally. Yes, he was there to keep the thing civil. He was a supporter of the Black Lives Cause movement.
And who is he to do that?
He's a guy who
cared. A 17-year-old kid.
He's a guy who cared.
He's just a 17-year-old kid who threw himself in the mix of stuff, and now he's trying to pretend like he's some kind of victim of what he put himself through. I'm not saying that he wasn't justified in shooting. If you guys are attacking with a skateboard and shit like that, that's clear cut to me. Like, that's obviously self-defense. But he put himself in that situation. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. So he can't play victim after the fact of the situation. He's a victim
he's not playing victim, though.
Well, kind of.
No, he's not doing anything. He hasn't said anything.
Wow, whatever.
He literally hasn't said anything. He is not playing any game.
All right. So
it's everybody else. You're caught up in the media, man.
No, I'm not caught up in the media.
Yes, you are. You're saying he's playing victim.
How am I caught up in the media? I'm caught up in the media.
Yes.
I'm probably more anti-media than you are.
Well, you have this narrative that is
No, I just
bogus.
think he's probably a dickbag. He's probably one of these mall cop fucking dickbags that walk around trying to
If he was that, he would have shot more people. He could have easily. There was like 6 people.
Okay, have you watched any of the case?
I watched the video.
So the one question they asked him, and I love this question because he's lying through his fucking teeth. They go, the cops apparently had said something to him and some of the other people, some of the other guys there, the whatever you want to call them, militia or whatever the fuck we're calling them now, but had said, thank you for being here, or basically they thanked him, whatever. And he was asked, did that make you feel good or whatever? No. As if you weren't there for that kind of accolade. Like, the kid's going into policing. He's doing all this kind of stuff. So these kinds of guys, that's the whole reason they do it. I know guys that are in the auxiliary, like police auxiliary, that act like they're cops. But all they are is event cops.
Any kind of power
these are
over
mall
anybody.
cop type people. These are the people.
He exerted no power over anybody the whole night, and you're sitting.
I'm
there
not saying that he did or anything.
Well, you're saying that's what he went there for. You're saying that he went there to do that.
He's doing that.
No, he's not. He was literally cleaning up graffiti.
He's not police.
He was putting out fires. He was administering first aid to people. That's what he was doing. He wanted to help.
What video have you seen of him doing all those things?
There isn't video of him doing all those things.
So you're hearing conjecture.
There are witnesses.
But you're just taking conjecture.
The guy that filmed the whole event testified.
How do you know how he's talking to people and stuff? How do you know any of it? You don't know how.
We know that he fucking ran away. We know that he encountered these guys earlier. Apparently, this is what what's his name? Hernandez, the guy who filmed the whole thing, testified that Kyle had successfully de-escalated the situation earlier. One of the guys, I think it was the guy that got killed, said to Kyle, it's like, I'm going to kill you or something. Kyle left. They did their own thing. Later, they encountered him again, and then they went right after. Apparently, what did Kyle say? He said, I'm going to the police, is what he said. And then, what was the guy's name that was testifying?
Which one?
The guy that got shot in the arm.
Oh, gross guy?
Gross guy. He testified that he heard Kyle say, when Kyle said, I'm going to the police, he thought that he had said, I work with the police, which makes their whole situation worse, that now that they thought that they had caught a police informant in the protest and went after him. They fucking were literally trying to kill him. There's no doubt that they were trying to kill him, or at least a couple of them were trying to kill him. One of them had previously threatened his life, and he tries to run away. The whole thing. He had left the situation before, they encountered before. He tried to run away again, couldn't get away, had to fire his gun.
Oh, listen,
at the last result. He exerted zero power over everybody. He is somebody who felt helpless that the institutions were failing. Maybe he could have done something different. Maybe he shouldn't have that. But whatever. His motive is he's a fucking kid who feels helpless.
How do you know what his motive is? You don't know what his motive is. You're just implying.
You have to go with what he says.
Well, I don't.
And what he did.
I don't necessarily believe him 100%.
Okay,
I just go on what he did, right? So he goes.
He shows up. He administers first aid with people. He puts out fires. He cleans up graffiti
with an AR-15 wrapped around his neck.
And thank God he had that AR-15 because he would be dead
for himself. Maybe he wouldn't have. Maybe he wouldn't have been attacked the same way if he didn't.
And he would have never fired the gun.
But he might not have. It might not have gone that way. It might have gone that way because he had the AR-15 wrapped around his neck.
I don't know about that.
Well,
that doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean it doesn't make any sense? If I go somewhere and I'm threatening to people, I might be threatened. But if I go unassuming and I'm just a wallflower somewhere,
running away,
doesn't mean necessarily anybody's going to attack me or even look at me because I'm not a threat to somebody or posing.
Fleeing to the police.
What I'm saying though is he's a threat just by looking at him because he's got a fucking gun attached to him.
He's not a threat when he's running away. He's turning on the other. He's no longer a threat. He is not a threat.
I'm not saying at that point. I'm saying all prior to that. But I'm not even defending the fact that he was attacked or anything. I'm not defending the attackers. I think they're a bunch of dickbags too. What I'm saying though is it is a threatening thing. And have you not ever been around someone with a gun?
I've shot guns.
Well, I'm saying, but just being around someone that you don't know with a gun. So when I've been on a cruise, when I went on a cruise a couple times, and I go to ports, especially in like Mexico and shit, get off the ship, and the guys are standing there with fucking machine guns in front of you. Even though you know that they're military guys and they're there basically to make sure that you're okay and you're not being attacked by anybody, so they're there for your safety, it's still very intimidating, these guys standing there with a gun. If the wrong thing happens, somebody can get shot. So it's already a tense situation is what I'm saying.
That's why everybody should have a gun.
Well, okay, but that's a different debate. What I'm saying, though, is this kid goes somewhere that he didn't have to go to, gets into some shit. He brought that shit on himself a little bit.
He brought the situation on himself. That doesn't mean that his motives weren't just and pure and
Yeah,
noble.
but you're speculating what his motives are because maybe they align
I'm
with
not
your
speculating. I'm taking his word for it and his actions.
Yeah,
and looking at the video and saying, okay, yeah, he didn't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah,
he
but you
wanted
don't
to
know
help
what
people.
his actual motives were. It doesn't matter what he says his motives are.
Okay, well, what do? You just assume that everybody's the worst?
No,
everyone's acting in bad faith and
I just
everyone's
think that maybe
not being
he
honest?
shouldn't have been there with a gun.
Okay.
Maybe
Maybe he shouldn't have.
Maybe that.
Who cares?
Maybe that. Whole
He has
thing,
a right to do that. He should have a right to do that.
Yeah,
Freedom.
sometimes.
And when the institutions collapse, you need to exert that freedom.
He's a 17-year-old kid. What's a 17-year-old fucking kid know?
He doesn't know anything.
Exactly.
He knows that he
shit.
wants to help.
I know his
That's all he
mom.
knows.
I know his mom probably should have stopped him.
Maybe.
Mothered him a little bit better.
Maybe she fucking didn't know what he was doing, and then, bam.
Yeah. Listen, and again, like I said, the spirit of it, I like the idea of stopping a bunch of dickbags from burning and looting and doing all that shit. But a 17-year-old kid, what the fuck does he know?
He doesn't know anything. But that doesn't mean that, like, it does not mean that his motives are not pure
I don't know, you know what,
and
man?
in the best intent
I
to go
I think
and
you're
help
giving
his
him
city.
you're giving him the complete benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. At this
But
point,
I'm not giving him the
at this
complete
point,
benefit. I'm kind of in the
absolutely.
middle. I'm like, I think
I'm
I believe
taking
he
his word
could
for
be a
it.
dickbag.
I'm looking at the
Maybe he's
video.
not.
I'm looking at witness testimony at what he
you see
did.
the-
I'm saying,
did you see
yep.
the cry out? Did you see his cry?
Yeah.
Did that feel good to you? Did that feel like?
That feels like a fucking kid that was almost murdered that night and was forced to
I
kill
don't know.
somebody.
I don't know.
That looked like a fucking PTSD breakdown.
I think it looks a little fake, to be honest.
Man, that's insane. The
Well,
kid
how's that
almost
insane?
died.
How's that insane?
He's a 17-year-old kid, and fucking 2 people tried to kill him at least.
Yeah.
There were 6 people chasing him down,
Yeah,
and he
but-
was forced to use his weapon.
Did
And
you
a
see the-
person ended up dead.
Did you see the after?
How the fuck
did
would
see
you
the-
feel?
Did you see the 11 minutes when he was in custody by the police and stuff?
When?
So right after, basically. So his mom's they're in an interrogation room. It's an 11-minute video. He's in the interrogation room with his mom. The cops are gonna try to take a deposition from him. He invokes his right to legal counsel, and they stop. The whole thing. There's at no point is he crying, upset, or any of that shit. This is right after the fact. You think he'd be a little bit fucking messy there? I feel like it's a little contrived. Like I'm not, and again, I don't really care because honestly, I think it's a slam dunk case. Like he's shot when he was being attacked. But I
they
think
butchered that case themselves.
Oh, I know. Oh, absolutely. I don't even care about that. I think they
Have
couldn't
you
have done
seen-
anything. I don't think they could have done anything anyway because it's
Have you seen
the
some
video
of
is the telltale. of it.
Some of the sound bites. I forget who they were talking to.
But is this
it
the
was
kind of
like-
guy though? Like, okay, is this the kind of guy that you'd want to be a cop?
This guy?
Yeah,
Yes,
I wouldn't.
absolutely.
I don't think so. You know why?
Absolutely.
Because I think he has too much of an ego about it.
No, I don't think so at all.
I think he
I
would
don't
be-
see that at all.
I do. I see him being one of these people that are like, he's so in love with the job itself and the accolades that come from that job and the power and all that kind of thing. That's why I think he's there with that kind
Despite-
of gun. I
despite
think he's
him
there with
not
that gun
enacting
because
any
that
kind of
gun represents some kind of power for him. I think he's probably a little twat in general, just like he's probably just, you know, like maybe he was bullied and shit like that. And now this is his little way of being in power and control. And again, I agree with the spirit of it because
Despite the lack of attempting to gain power and control over the
but
situation.
I think the gun is enough.
I don't think